Today I want to talk to the fellas out there respectfully. Everything I do, I try to do it respectfully. Not perfect, make mistakes. My heart is pure. I'm always trying to do the right thing. Sometimes we stumble, right? But I think this platform has kind of been set up for me. Um, I've been playing around with cameras and technology for the past few years. Just as an artist. Then getting into the 360 photo booth, capturing content, creating content on Canva, getting into the subscriptions with touch picks, things like that. Then my job I was at too previously kind of forced me to learn some technology, right? Basic stuff. I ain't know. I'm not a geek. I'm not a geek squad. But but where I'm going with this is this might be destined. Coming from where I come from, how we come up in Omaha. I'm just a kid from Omaha, born in Little Rock. Shout out to my Little Rock family. Grew up in Omaha, and now I got this platform. Over the years, got this following, and got some influence, a bit of influence. I'm always leading with humility, never on no cocky stuff, never trying to put anybody down. If you know me, you know. But I want to talk to the fellas out there. I believe I follow this one pastor Dr. R.A. Vernon out of Cleveland, and he always speak on how he's very big on uplifting men, and where I'm from, and a lot of men, even here in Atlanta and around our country. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of men always kind of getting the short stick. What I mean by that, in the households and kind of in society, sometimes people are just they look at men like we lack certain things, right? When it comes to like handling administrative things around the household, whether it be paying bills on time, um, whether it be handling the mortgage, whether it's planning your dates for your with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever. And just like you, I was definitely kind of off in these areas. Um, and over again, I have to shout out to my previous job when I got up in leadership and in corporate. It forced me to learn a lot of things. And I started to like these things, planning, being proactive, using your time management, which I'm very big on, and I love it. I love it because it helps me stay productive throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. So I just want to encourage the fellas out there to, a lot. I know a lot of us work in warehouses. We're not in offices and things like that. But in 2025, there's too many resources to educate yourself. Get online, whatever it is you're passionate about. Get online, apply yourself. Don't wait for your woman to do it. And nothing wrong with that, right? But a lot of times people try to have that one up on you when they're doing stuff for you. And it leaves you incompetent if you just allow people to do things for you. At some point, you got to stretch yourself and you have to do it yourself, so you can be that head and that you're destined to be, that God called us to be. Because as the man, you are the head of the household, bro. And so I often say, society would say the woman sets the tone in the household. I think it's the man that sets the tone in the household. Again, God called us to be the head, but a lot of times what we seeing is a lot of these women aren't going to allow us to lead if they're not going to follow you if you're not worth following. Meaning, you lack in a lot of these areas, and some of it isn't our fault. Respectfully, you come up in a society where we were dealt certain cards, right? A lot of us didn't come up with our fathers. And so we had to learn to become men, and we still becoming. Me myself, my dad was a good guy, but he was in Little Rock. We were in Omaha. And so down north got the best of us. But look what it developed today, I'm a product of my environment from Omaha, moved to Atlanta, 23, 24 years old. And I've grew a lot here. And so I just want to give back, man, and just encourage my brothers to educate yourselves, whatever that is. A lot of people that's getting out of prison, and they may feel There's no hope, because they so outdated. They're not up with technology. And that's a huge challenge. That's a huge challenge I can imagine, because there's people out here right now that are still cavemen and that haven't tapped into technology. Right now, AI is here. I was going to say on the way, but it's here, and so we have to, again, in the 90s when they told us, hey, if y'all don't learn something about this internet, you're going to be a caveman. And thankfully, our generation, some of us played around with it and we understand it, some don't. And a generation older than me, some of them are afraid of it and they don't. I remember when the self-service checkouts first came out in Walmart, what, about 10 years ago? And I'm sitting in there kind of just like, don't nobody want to have to do all this. You looking for a cashier, somebody to come ring you out. But eventually, once you scan it and, swipe your debit card, you see how easy it is. You're like, oh, okay. So a lot of times it's that fear. We be afraid of what we don't know. And so we back off. We get frustrated. First thing we do is get frustrated. So just calm down, take your time to learn some things. And again, just encouraging my men. I believe this might be my calling for men, lifting my bros up, man, because, and you have to learn. I ain't gonna say you have to, but if I was you, I would try to learn the things of God to the best of your ability. I'm not telling you to go to church tomorrow and dedicate your life and you do a whole 180, right? What I'm saying is, somehow you may want to start tapping in and learning what God says about the household, what God says about being a husband, being a leader, being the head, and just how we treat people on a daily. Again, I'm far from perfect, but I'm always reading. I got this Bible app that I'm constantly in. We attend church here and there, but the biggest thing is I have a relationship with God. And so I'm being held accountable and being convicted for things. A person who isn't convicted, that's a scary individual. If you think about it, when somebody wrongs you, I mean, at a certain age, right? Not that age is, age shouldn't be the identifier and set the tone, but we know younger people are more careless and kind of do things, with no regret and just kind of keep it pushing. We were all young, so I did a lot of wrong, so I get it. But what I'm saying is when you're older, 35, 40 and up, and you doing somebody wrong, whether it's your son's father, whether it's your baby mom, whether it's the teacher, whether it's your manager, whether it's your employee, whatever, right? If you're wronging somebody and you're not convicted afterwards, you're a scary individual. So I encourage you again, fellas, ladies too, but this is definitely for my men. Um, Bro, rise up. We gotta rise up, man. Whatever that looks like. Whatever that looks like. There's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. Society makes it seem like you gotta be an entrepreneur. I've been on both sides of the fence, as an entrepreneur, as a person in the streets, as a working man. And honestly, I've accomplished a lot with a good job, climbing my way up to the top, building credit, and utilizing that credit to get ahead and to leveraging the credit to make power moves, buying a house, et cetera, et cetera. So once you start to learn these things, you gotta, just like anything, you use it or lose it. If you're not on that trajectory, you're not at your job trying to move up, um, identifying your weaknesses and where you can get strong at, tweaking your resume, reaching out, utilizing the resources to update your resume and grow. It's all about growth, man. Again, you gotta get uncomfortable to grow. I was put in some situations when I was a operations supervisor in a corporate building that I would have never thought I would be in. Guys that know me, you would have never thought it either, right? I was in DCYC with you, Carney with you, So you would have never thought that I would have been here. And so the message is God will take a mess and make it a message. A lot of my friends, we all know each other, know where we come from. So, men, I can't stress it enough, bro. Work on yourself. It's all about self-work too. When you're in the house, if you know you got a good woman and, at the end of the day, she's good. She's good at the core, right? Nobody's going to be perfect. They going to have issues. We're going to have issues. But if you got a good woman and y'all having issues in the household, my advice would be work on yourself. Because the more you work on yourself, if she's a good woman, she's going to see that and her responses are going to be different. Self-work is key. You know, a lot of times when me and my wife get in situations, I'd be like, all right, I know she's good at the core, right? She's a woman of God, beautiful inside out, but we all got issues. But she's a good woman. So Isaac, what can you do how could you have responded different? How could you have handled that different? Bring it back to you. Bring it back to you. And as the woman sees that, if she's a good woman, she'll appreciate that. And then that will start to reciprocate, you know. But again, I just encourage my fellas, man. I just wanted to stop in and just drop some gems to my guys, man. And any advice that y'all can give me, I'm open. I'm never no one to act like I know it all, got it all, any of that. I'm a mess, just like some of you. We just work in progress. Difference is probably I have a relationship with God I talk to every single day, throughout the day, and I'm being convicted for things, and we trying to get there. We're not where we want to be, but we definitely not where we was. So fellas, respectfully, get on your grit, man up, rise up, be that head in the household. Don't let her have the one up on you. Get educated. You shouldn't have to. And again, this is all respectfully. I'm not trying to down nobody. I know some of us are less fortunate, in all type of different areas. But the point I'm making is, don't use that as an excuse to fail or just to allow others to do stuff for you and be handicapped. That's my thing. My mom raised us as a single woman to be independent. And again, at the end of the day, a woman is our helpmate. That's what the word of God say. I know we're in a society today, a lot of independent women. Shout out to my sisters doing their thing, coming in, bringing that, being that helpmate, encouraging a man, uplifting them. Words have life or death. So shout out to the ladies doing that. But fellas, we have to know our role and we got to assume the position respectfully. This your boy IG, man. It's all love. Respectfully, the podcast, man. I'll see y'all soon.